Where's there? I don't have a blue box. It should be going. The intro should be playing. The commercial play. Where is it? You must be hosting it because I don't have it. All right. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey everyone. Well, welcome to
Bruce.
us. Welcome to a special edition of the Monte and the Pharaoh show featuring most of the Monte and the Pharaoh family. I'm your host for tonight. It's ESO, and we're going to bring you an exciting night of wrestling humor and maybe even a touch of controversy. Well, first of all, let's welcome our esteemed guest. First, we have from Dan and Benny in the Ring. We have Dan Sebastiano. Welcome, Dan. Yeah, yeah. So, well, forgive us, guys. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty getting some of the pictures and stuff to come up. So, but next we have also from Dan and Benny in the Ring, the man of 1,000 podcasts himself, the player, Benny Scala.
Straight out of Playerville.
Up next, we have a man whose passion for wrestling exceeds no one. He once tried to suplex the Thanksgiving turkey and succeeded. He is the president of Thursday Nights. We have Phil DeCesare. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
So.
This is like Vince Sr. with Bruno, the double booking. You know, he was booked in Baltimore and Chicago, right?
So, hey, and Benny, you're going to show off another one of your skills tonight. We're going to have a poem.
Absolutely. You got it.
So,
The player is not a one-trick pony.
and finally, we have to give it up for the star of tonight's show, the person who we owe all this to, the guy who gave us this opportunity to showcase our questionable talents, the one and only Michael Monte.
Marginal talents. Yeah.
It was a while.
Yeah, loose.
So so hey Mike, I found a picture a while ago. I was really hoping Jimmy was going to be here. Let's see if I can get it to come up on the screen. Let's see if you can see it. So I found a picture of you guys back in high school. I think this was detention or something. Do you have any comments on it?
Who is who there? Yes. No.
So
No, there's etchings on the wall in the cave. Like,
uh,
right, on broken glass, barefoot. Yeah, I mean, I met him once, but like I felt like I formed a bond with the guy. He was just, I mean, a giant of a man, but like just so, I mean, just a good guy. Very
right. Well, I'm going to turn this over to Michael Monty, who's going to introduce our poet laureate of the Monty and the Pharaoh Show.
yeah. See,
Hey. So, so the first things I'm sure everybody saw this week that a couple of political parties reached out to Dwayne the Rock Johnson about running for president. What do you guys think of that? Hey, then it's just like what's happened in Ukraine there.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Well, but when you think about it, though, the guy spent his entire life working people, which makes him the perfect politician. But yeah, I mean, he's no. What qualifies to be the president? I mean, is it now a popularity contest? I mean, I thought you needed to be qual. I mean, if he's in a summit meeting with Putin, he goes, "Mr. Johnson, I think it doesn't matter what." Like, I mean, does he do that? Like, yeah, he does. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Run running with that stash.
I
I
don't
would
get
have
it,
never
but
seen that one.
okay.
Who he was mid card at best. I said mid card at best.
And he wasn't in really over in many territories. He was in Memphis, I think. I don't know outside of Memphis. Where else was he over? I mean, he never would have translated into WWF.
I, my exposure was in the late '80s. I had gotten an injury, and I was out of. I couldn't play sports or anything for quite a few months, and every day, and ESPN had different wrestling on, and it was WCCW, USWA, and a bunch of them, and that's when I first was exposed to him back then, and then. 10 plus years later, when he became a manager in the WWF, I remember that too. But I more remember him from those early days.
Right. Yeah. Who exactly. Yeah, who's Dory Funk? Right. Right. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously growing up in the well, the my first, I call it my first WTF moment, was actually when Channel 41 out of Newark, New Jersey, started showing NWA Hollywood, and I see this guy, this wild man, Jabba Rook, and I'm thinking, holy shit, that guy. If I didn't know any better, I think that was Johnny Rods. And it's like, holy shit, he's even got the same JR in his boots, but it can't be because Johnny Rods is here. But wait, and I just like that was such a conundrum. But and I did not, I could not believe that was Johnny Rods. I wouldn't make myself believe it, but that was my first, first inkling that maybe like everything wasn't it what it appeared to be. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look, gotta say it was Hulk Hogan's Rocket Wrestling era. I probably watched the cartoon about when I started watching wrestling itself. So the Hulkster brought me in. I'm still a fan to this day of his, but I became more of the heel fan over the next few years. Really, I was a fan of the Macho Man and the Heenan family. Loved Bobby the Brain Heenan. I was a big mark when Paul Orndorff turned on Hogan. Um, so, but that just that era in general for me. A couple years after what Phil was talking about, but just that golden age of wrestling.
Rock stars. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Style, what it brought to him. So my whole point of this whole thing is when I had Apter on, the thing that used to piss me off about the magazines is they always made sure Backlund was behind Vern or Bockwinkel and whoever the NWA champion was. And in some cases, I don't even think they put Backlund as a world champion.
You're right.
And it used to piss me off to no end. Like, this is, we asked him about that. He's like, oh, we didn't do that. Me and Jimmy are like, hell yeah, you did. We remember that thoroughly. You're lying through your teeth right now.
Because they used to, several articles in several magazines over the years try to paint a picture that Backlund was protected by the referees. Okay, that he was always winning just by some dumb luck, or someone had a foot on the rope, or this or that. So they were always trying to create a little controversy around Backlund to kind of invalidate him a little bit. So. Yeah, strangely enough, yeah, and he's the territory champion too, and they're out of New York. It was kind of weird to me why they were kind of bringing him down a notch. Yeah, Backlund was always protected by refs and this and that, and I never bought into it.
Totally, man. Totally.
So, hey, Mike, you want to go over the usual plugs? I can't remember all of them. I don't know if you want to do them on the special edition or not, and then we might want to run to a commercial.
All right. Well, we want to thank the band that sings a theme song from Monte The Pharaoh, and Jimmy Farrell, along with his partner Bart Griggs, make up the band Wisteria Hall. Phil?
Bart, man. Love it.
Wisteria Hall sings those great songs. It's in my dreams. This life not far behind. Catch them on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page, the Wisteria Hall Facebook Live page, and download the music on Spotify, Apple Music, Reverb Nation, where all audio is found. You are watching the Monte Family show, where we gathered two icons or growing icons in the business, Dan and Benny, in the ring, which can be heard, I believe, every Wednesday morning. I think it is, right? You download on Wednesday morning on audio, and they have recently joined the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube page. If you didn't know it, you are watching the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube page. And to the left corner is Phil DeCesare. Phil is a very well-known leader in the radio business and was mostly known to us as part of the Boston wrestling family until the untimely passing of Mr. Dan Marotti. Dan supplied so much great content for everybody, and he gained such popularity through all the years. And Phil was always a valuable contributor to that. We are lucky that he's with us and will drive us into 2024 along with Dan and Benny. And then there is Bruce, ESO Creative. ESO is a t-shirt company, and he makes all goods and gives away. And Bruce has an ultimate love of what you're seeing here as he's trying to learn his craft. And if I know Bruce, he'll be a master. And again, you are on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page. Monte The Pharaoh is Long Island's #1 pro wrestler and broadcast, seen by over 150,000 viewers weekly. The first channel was shut down due to many reasons, and we reopened the new channel about a year ago. We finally hit 1 million views, so that's not bad.
Wow,
we've been a mainstay on New York cable now for about 3.5 years. And we are honored to have the family, meaning the people who join us every Thursday or whenever we have a show, that support us and supporting the channel. And we're really looking to expand the channel within the next 6 months or so. So there's a lot of big things coming.
Sounds awesome.
So with that, let's see if this transition to the commercial break worked.
Well,
And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence. Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. Elm Logistics, for all your logistic needs, call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics, pride, performance, and partnerships.
And welcome back to a special edition of the Monte and the Pharaoh Family Show. Well, this weekend we got some fun events coming up. We have the Survivor Series. I'm hoping everybody's getting excited for that, and I wanted to take this time to kind of go over some of the card. Let's go over like some of the build, the expectations, and some of our predictions. So, how do we start out with talking about Carlito versus Santos Escobar?
well, I think
talk at once.
I think
Yeah.
Carlito has been brought in to put over Santos and other people. So
Yes.
I think his role right now is to come in and to make stars out of the current crop of soon-to-be stars, and I think it's a role that he can really do well in. He's got a great name, obviously, a great history. Certainly, his family. He adds credibility, I think, to anybody he works with. So, I think his job may be to do that. I don't know if they plan on utilizing him, beyond that, but I would say it'd be safe to say that perhaps Escobar is going over, but just one man's opinion.
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I personally think that, yes, I agree that Escobar should go over here, but I think they messed it up they should have flipped it. I mean, having Santos Escobar turn heel on the LWO seems kind of weird to me. Bring Carlito in, have him turn heel so you can build Santos Escobar as the next big face of, especially because, they always love having and I hate to sound cruel, but they love having the ethnic heroes. He can be your next big Latin baby face, do your tours in Mexico and things like that. But instead now he's going to be your next big star, and he's a heel. Every major star that you're trying to build up, a lot of this young talent, they're all heels. Like, I want to see a young up-and-coming babyface. I think it would have made more sense to have Carlito turn on everybody, because how come I wasn't your first phone call, Ray, when you reformed this group, and then Escobar beats him as the face and go from there. Especially now with Ray legitimately hurt, he could be the next, the keep the faction going. I think he'll win, but I think it should have been the other way up. I think the heel face dynamic should have been flipped.
Do you think they're trying to make him into the next Alberto Del Rio?
I sure hope not, because Alberto Del Rio is garbage, and anything he touches.
He never connect. I mean, great wrestler. I mean, his in-ring work was fantastic. Just never connected with the audience.
Well, there's a reason for that, because I don't think his in-ring work was very good. I get his his fundamentals maybe, but no facial expressions, no personality when he's moving. I mentioned Steamboat earlier. You talk about some of the stuff in the WWF, like, no one is ever going to say Hulk Hogan's the best wrestler they've ever seen, but that guy could tell a story in 10 seconds with a facial expression
Right.
that most people couldn't tell in a 10-minute match today. And that was Del Rio's problem, is even being good, he was boring, and you can't.
He was an awful baby face.
Yeah, that too.
Well, the thing I'll say about this match is, does it really belong on a premium live event? If this were back in the pay-per-view days, would this be a match that you would really want to kind of spend your money on? It just doesn't seem. It doesn't seem pay-per-view worthy.
In the pay-per-view days, this would be on Sunday Night Heat at 7:30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Ouch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the WWE kind of has put themselves in their back against the wall in this one, right? Because Escobar has now become a heel. You're going to have him lose to Carlito. And so now as a face, he lost all the time, and now he's going to lose as a heel. So I don't know what you do with that. And then on the other hand, you just brought Carlito back. You're going to have him lose to Escobar. I don't know where you go with this.
Right.
But you know what? But this goes back to old school. Let's go back to the old double count out. How many times did we witness double countouts growing
Even
up?
a draw.
A draw, double disqualification, single disqualification. Why is that such a no anymore? You can't do that. Why don't they do that anymore?
Well, you either have some type of interference or some type of weapon involved in the match. I don't know. It's always gimmicked. There's nothing proving somebody's the best anymore either. So,
But you take any card from the 70s on Madison Square Garden, say 11 matches, guaranteed at least 4 or 5 of them were going to either be DQs, draws, or a count out. And you never see any of those. Or rarely, anyway.
Is that the new generation now, that they always have to see a finish? What's the idea there, Dan? Dan?
Honestly, I think it's not that they have to see a finish. It's, I think, a lot of the modern wrestlers, especially the ones under the age of 30, they want to either, they want to win, or they want something that they feel is definitive. I mean, go tell somebody from 20, 30 years ago, 30-minute time limit draw. Cool, great. Go tell the guys today, 30-minute time limit draw. All right, but I'm kicking out of 15 finishers and next, and it's all this crap. You know what? Forget it. Just pin him after 7 and we're done. Like,
Phil, what do you think?
Well, I was just looking at the chat to see if I was on silent. Someone said that they thought I was on silent. I was just double checking that. So I turned away for a moment. I think Luce and JA had mentioned that.
But you seem okay.
Hopefully
I
not.
can hear you fine.
Okay,
Yep.
good. You guys can. I just think that they couldn't, but that's good. I'm sorry, Mike. What was the question now about?
The question is, why don't they use disqualifications, countouts, double countouts anymore? What's the deal?
Interesting. It almost seems like they're trying to do away with rules, huh?
By the way, Phil, they love you, man. Lou says you're great even when you're on mute. I mean, come on, you can't get any better than that.
You're definitely over. He's over.
Well, good. They're over with me, man. Yeah, and then sometimes I can tell, like, JA is back. We missed him a few chats to go for a few chats, so it's nice that he's back.
We did.
But yeah. So I don't know. Geez, does the rule of law still apply? I have to say though, the GM on Raw on Monday night seemed to really lay the law down, so I thought that was great. I thought he did a good job with that. But yeah, why aren't there DQs anymore? Why aren't there countouts? That's a really good question. They're certainly not prevalent like they used to be. That's a good question. Geez, just like society, we're losing our laws seemingly. You shoplift, I'll go ahead, keep going. We don't care.
Well, I got a quick question for Luce. So Luce, I hope you're listening to this one. You weren't a big fan of the recent changes to the show. Now that change is over, you haven't chimed in. What are your thoughts? Without mentioning names, what are your thoughts there, Luce? Please chat. Are you happy now, or what are you thinking?
And don't mention the name that shouldn't be mentioned.
No, please don't mention names.
No, that'll
All
cost
right,
you.
here's what I'm excited for, guys. What about Gunther versus Miz? I love that match. I don't know
Yes,
why,
I
but
do too.
love this match.
Because we're all scared that Miz might win, so we don't want that. But I mean, again, when you think about it, someone like the Miz who's held the title a million times, and Gunther, who now has the record of holding it the longest time, be a great matchup. I mean, two contrasts in characters. We've got the serious, old school, hard nosed, nothing flashy Gunther versus the Miz, who's the total opposite of all that. And I don't know. Were they going to throw us a curve and have Miz win? I really hope not. It's
I think that's, in fact, in my opinion, they should have Gunther just give him a major beat down for like 20 minutes, just pound him.
I think most of the fans would love that. I would. I'd mark out for that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would like to see Miz like wrestle. You know what I mean?
I like to see Miz fight for his life against Gunther.
Yeah.
And
just get killed.
Maybe get busted open. Sure.
Yeah. How good would that be?
That would be good.
All right. So, I mean, I'm going to call him Miz win. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Yeah, that is a limb.
I am. And I'm going to tell you that.
Send this. Maybe at WrestleMania, Gunther fights. I'm sorry, what's the other guy's name? If someone could help me.
Which one?
Oh, Ludwig Kaiser.
Ludwig, yeah. That might be the main event, not the main event, but the Intercontinental match. There is no chance in hell that Miz is winning that belt.
Do I get a raise if he does?
I will kiss your feet. I will fly to Florida and kiss your feet.
All right.
I'll tell you, all punchlines aside, I'm actually inclined to agree with Benny on this one. I think
there you go. All right.
If you're gonna pull the trigger, now would be the time for one, because you saw it with McIntyre, you saw it with Shinsuke Nakamura. Other than Cody, when's the last time the fans really, other than the theme song, have given a shit about Seth Rollins? You have to give him a feud that fans can get behind, and I think Gunther will do that. I think that the fans have reacted greatly to babyface Miz, giving him the belt, and then using him to transition to the next up-and-coming mid-card talent that you want to push to the Gunther level is a better choice than building up a face and having them take it from Gunther. And you want to do the reset. I mean, Vince McMahon just sold all his TKO stock. You got full new leadership in the back, full new control going around. This is a good point to say, look, we got to change it up a little bit. And I mean, fans wouldn't expect it. It would be the great turn. And I think what Benny said would work. Have Kaiser Wilhelm or excuse me, Ludwig Kaiser or whoever, Giovanni Vinci, have one of them cost him the match. And then Monday Night Raw, Gunther can come out and just absolutely obliterate the living bejeebs, maybe win a handicap match against both of them. I'm going to pound both of you into the dirt. Okay, the Intercontinental title is over. Rollins is next. Gunther can interfere, do something, and transition there, because he's not going to wrestle Roman. So you got to have Seth Rollins do something coming in the season, because he's the heavyweight champion and no one cares about him.
So Dan, this is why you'll forever be booking in the NWA because of that kind of mindset that's going on with you and Benny. Here's the deal. Gunther has to lose the belt at WrestleMania. By that time, Cody wins the belt, and that's going to be the obvious next challenger. So Cody can carry on, and the WWE can carry on without Roman for a while. To transition Gunther out at this point to go after Rollins makes no sense. You got McIntyre, right? You've got Judgment Day. McIntyre is going to beat Rollins for the title. It'll probably happen at WrestleMania unless CM Punk shows up on Saturday. Then all bets are off, right? Then I have no idea which way they're going to go with this, right? Because it could go a million different ways. But to me, Dan and Benny, it would not make sense to transition Gunther in. Cody Rhodes is going to need a formidable foe after he takes the belt from Roman Reigns. This thing can go so upside down for the WWE, it's going to be really bad. So you've got to give him a legitimate guy that you think might be able to beat him for that title. So, and Miz, it can't be the transitional. Who's the next? Okay, Miz wins the belt. Who's your next IC champion? Who are you giving that to? So Miz is the good guy IC champion, and who's he at? Who's he fighting? Nakamura, Jimmy Uso. I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like no brainer to go with Gunther.
The only reason I would think that the Miz has any chance in hell is because the WWE usually likes to move a title on the premium live event, and it's only that or the women's title. I don't see the women's title changing hands either. So this might be an event where no titles change hands. Yeah, and to the Miz.
I agree.
Well,
Yeah.
I will say if Gunther beats Miz, I don't think he wins clean. I think somebody cheats. It's a ref bump where, you know, Gunther's down for the 4 or 5 count, and by the time the ref makes it, he kicks out at 2. They're gonna do something to make it look like Miz could have won. If Gunther does win, and I think I agree with you on that one, Monty. If CM Punk shows up this weekend, then Gunther keeps the belt because CM Punk would be the person I would build to challenge Cody.
Right.
Yeah, all bets are off if Punk shows up. And if he does show up, look, I'm not a Punk guy, but my God, it could be one of the craziest Survivor Series of all time. I mean, seriously. And the matches could all suck. If CM Punk just shows up, it doesn't matter. It's like the greatest Survivor Series of all time.
That looks like
Bruce?
Zoe and Rhea.
So let's move on
Where's
to
our leader?
the next match there. We got Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark, the other title match on the night. Well, this one, I mean, you have to go with Rhea. Zoe's got a future, but let's face it, Rhea is dominant. And let's face it, Rhea's hot. We saw it this 2 weekends ago or last weekend down in Long Island. Her line was what, 2,500 people deep. Everybody.
Her line was the building length. Yeah.
Definitely. Rhea's going over in that one.
I am a little disappointed in the Zoe Stark experiment. I thought they had something good with Trish Stratus, and that was such a flat feud until that final cage match, which I thought was incredible. But then, Zoe Stark turns on whatever that has a problem with Trish Stratus, and Zoe's been all over the place at this point. So I don't know what's going on with. I think they're actually ruining Zoe Stark, and I think it's too early to put her against Rhea. I am concerned for some of the other ladies though, because I feel like they're shelving Charlotte. I don't know why. Like Charlotte's now quickly becoming an afterthought at this point. And Bianca Belair, she's losing her shine too. I mean, she was popular as all hell, and it's like that's gone. I don't know what they're doing here, guys.
I mean, how do you give a belt to Zoe Stark when you have Charlotte,
Oh, definitely.
Sky is the one who's got, I think, the greatest amount of experience in these types of matches. So I think that is going to provide her team, I think, with a little extra something for sure.
So you definitely have to keep her strong because she's got to be at least one of your shining stars.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
No, clearly this is a across the board agreement. Rhea's winning, not a chance. Like
Right.
0% chance that she loses.
I mean, what are we talking? What's Rhea's eventually end game here? Are we going to WrestleMania, and then who's the opponent there?
Dominic.
You know what? That would be pretty damn good.
Oh,
that would be pretty good.
Yeah, it would.
Oh, the match.
Here's the question though: today's PC environment, would the WWE even venture that way?
Well, now that gender is so fluid, I mean, geez. Let's get the intergender championship going here. Bring back Andy Kaufman, my goodness. But no, I could foresee something like that in the future. There's that tension there, and maybe we'll see some of it at Survivor Series. Maybe it'll boil over a little more. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, I would mark out for a Dominic versus Rhea match.
That would be cool.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
they are the same size. They're about the same size.
I give the edge to Rhea for sure.
That'll be your Judgment Day implosion. It'll be Rhea and Dominic in a tag match against Finn and Priest.
Sure.
Well, let me ask you this question: do you think after Survivor Series, that Monday night? Let's talk about post Survivor Series. Is that the night that Damian Priest gets kicked out of Judgment Day and McIntyre takes over as the leader?
That could happen. Well, who's going to, someone who's going to be very bruised and banged up on Monday night is probably Jey Uso, because lest we not forget, Randy Orton is returning to be a part of this battle and on his team too. So, we have to harken back just to, God, it's been almost 2 years, a year and a half or so. Yeah. And it was the Usos who in the storyline took out Randy Orton. Okay. So, vengeance is Randy Orton's right now, and
well, this is where I give the WWE is getting so much. I don't know who's doing it, but they have these Easter eggs. When they were talking about Randy Orton coming back, they were like, you saw Jay in the back, and he did not seem very happy about it. By the time WrestleMania comes, Jay will have turned on somebody, and Jay will be back in the bloodline. The bloodline will be whole again to go into that WrestleMania. But going back to the original question, will Damian Priest days be numbered with Judgment Day after Survivor Series, and will McIntyre then become the new head of Judgment Day?
I think there are several factors that could create the situation, and there's probably not a better place right now for that, a better stage for that to happen right now than Survivor Series. So we have to expect something monumental, I think, like that to happen. And at this point, how could it not? How could it not? So that's a very good prediction, I would say.
There's still that Money in the Bank in play too.
Yeah, that's another factor.
I could see that happening, but at the same time, I don't know if Drew McIntyre needs the Judgment Day. His grumpy, life's not fair to me, so I'm going to kick you in the face kind of heel loner persona, I think works better than having him in some big faction. Especially, I mean, the Judgment Day hasn't exactly had the best win-loss record when stuff really hits the fan. I think I don't know if that elevates anybody, having McIntyre take over like that, especially if you kick Damian Priest out, then you have a face Money in the Bank holder, and the heel Money in the Bank holder always seems to work better. So I don't know if Damian Priest should be the face in that dynamic.
Well,
maybe kick Balor out, and then he can be, I don't know, the demon or
something. Here's what I see, Dan. If Priest gets pinned Saturday, Monday he's out. That is a guarantee, right? That's a guarantee. McIntyre is going to beat Rollins for that title. Now you have face Priest against heel McIntyre, leader of the bloodline. And let's not forget that Rhea and McIntyre look real good together. Again, WWE secret Easter
You're
eggs.
right.
They
Right.
do a lot of stills with them together, and you're just like
Gazing in each
whoa.
other's eyes. Yeah.
Exactly. Look at that power couple right
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Especially if they both have titles.
And they both have accents. Pretty cool.
Although
Benny,
I mean,
buddy.
Rollins,
I think
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say Rollins kind of chumped McIntyre out in Saudi Arabia. Like, I get the idea being McIntyre had him beat, but then let him get back up and to kick him fairly. You know, if he had just stomped on him, full heel, he would have been champion. But at the same time, then, you know, super kick, pedigree, stomp, 1, 2, 3. Like, what claim does Rollins have to the belt now? You lost two in a row. Get your ass to the back of the line, and we'll have to, you know, figure something else out. I'd be curious how they transition Rollins back as number one contender if he does take over the Judgment Day.
I think that I don't think he joins Judgment Day. I think he's too big of a star. I think he just they keep dancing around. I think they just, you know, they use it as a storyline. I think they keep, you know, and I do think there's going to be a lot of chemistry between McIntyre and Rhea Ripley, definitely, but I don't see them pulling the trigger on that. I see Randy Orton delivering the RKO from out of nowhere to JD McPumpkinhead, because I don't. I think he's the weak link. He's got to take the pin. I don't see Damian Priest taking the pin. I just don't. And I don't see him being kicked out of Judgment Day. I think he's too solid of a member.
Unrelated side question. We keep talking about taking the pin. When did War Games transition to pins? It used to be submission or quit only. Like what I mean, I remember the last War Games match I saw ended with a pinfall. Like when did that happen? Does anybody remember when they stopped being a literal war to the death, and now it's just okay, whoever gets kicked in the face first?
It goes back. That's why he couldn't stay in the NWA for so long, because in the NWA you could pin somebody in a steel cage match, not in the WWE. It's either go over the top or through the door.
Or through the door.
I remember I was used to those rules, and then you watch an NWA match and they got a referee counting out. So I don't know. Maybe it's NWA rules. I mean, was War Games out of the cage? I forget. There was no pinfalls.
No, it used to be one, the cage had a roof, so none of the jump through the cage into the crowd of people, stupid spots. But it used to be submission
Surrender
only. And you know, I hate to say it, but I give AEW credit for their what do they call it, Blood and Guts, their version of War Games. That is a hardcore quit only, no submission, no nothing. You have to, somebody on the other team has to tap out or quit verbally, like none of this pinfall. And I think that's the way you do it. If you're going to have a bloody beat to hell, and really War Games should be the end of the feud, the actual bloody line in the sand, it has to be a submission. You know, it should not okay, 4 people hit each other with some chairs, 1, 2, 3. Like, that feels anticlimactic to me.
Let me ask you, I don't mean to turn the subject, but how do you feel like Adam Copeland feels, or Paige feels, that they're in AEW now and they're playing to crowds of less than 1,000 or 1,000 people? Doesn't that like kind of weigh on your psyche a little bit at some point? Like, ugh, what am I doing?
I think some of it is probably, I mean, especially in like a Saraya setting where she would never get cleared to wrestle in WWE. So her, you know, wrestling in front of 1,500 people on your lowest rated Rampage ever is still better than nothing, I would imagine. Plus, you know, you got a lot of friends and family that work there. As far as someone like an Adam Copeland or Bryan Danielson or somebody like that, it might be a wake-up call, like, holy shit, you know. Although, in all fairness, the AEW being, you know, playing to 70% empty arenas and SmackDown doing 10 times the rating is a relatively new transition. 6 months ago, a year ago, they were 10,000 plus. I mean, I went and saw them in Norfolk's when they were here, and it was building was probably about 80% full, you know, plus the 800, 900,000 watching the show. Now they just had a a Rampage with 200 less than 300,000 viewers, and they in a building that sold less than 3,000 tickets. Like how? I mean, yeah, you got to be like, okay, this is definitely the
like my whole point. My whole point is like, as a wrestler, you have this great career like Edge did, right? And you're like, you know what? I know I'm playing to this major organization, but I'm a star. I'm Edge. People come to see me. And then you go to AEW and you're thinking, hey, man, people want to see Edge. They want to see me. And then you come out the curtain and there's 300 people sitting there and no one's watching you on TV. And it's like, oh, I guess I'm not as big as I thought I was. I guess it is the WWE. Like, that's got to, like, you know, you have this illustrious career and all of a sudden you end it with this. That's got to hurt your, your psyche.
I get it. I mean, that was the way I felt first time I did a show without Benny, and I saw what the viewership numbers were. I knew immediately who the star was.
Look, I get it.
It's got. I mean, you play in Yankee Stadium now. You're playing in a high school gym. I mean, it's gotta have some effect on you.
I think too. It's got to be a reality check when you say, you know, main event match involving Edge, Christian, Sting, all these stars, and we just lost to a segment on SmackDown where, you know, I don't know, fucking some random pick a random SmackDown star, and that segment did 10 times our viewership. Like, okay, you know, you're really gonna argue that you know, I mean, maybe like an LA Knight promo or Paul Heyman promo is 10 times more exciting than an Edge match, like, or excuse me, an Adam Copeland match. That's got to hurt.
What does that say about TBS too? It's like, are they hurting that bad for programming? Like, no one's watching. Just run, you know, reruns of, you know.
Yeah, well, that's something WrestleNomics likes to point that out when they do the quarter by quarter breakdowns for AEW, where, you know, they'll, after say Rampage or Collision or something goes off the air, 10:30, 11 p.m. at night on TNT, they're playing the Shawshank Redemption, and it'll have, you know, 700,000 more viewers than Rampage just had, you know, and that's a movie that everyone watching has seen 1 million times already.
Tom and Jerry trilogy.
Yeah.
Bruce, I'm sorry to divert. Go ahead, sir. You're in charge here. I apologize.
Hey, I wouldn't expect anything less than you taking over, Mike. So, hey, let's get into the next match. We have the women's match featuring Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, Becky Lynch, versus Damage Control, Bayley, Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. So, what does everybody think about this one? This should be a fun match.
Easiest one to predict. Damage Control implodes. Bayley takes the pin. She's out.
Yeah, definitely. You could feel that tension between Bayley and the Judgment Day, the Damage Control the other day.
I guess, and I'm assuming Bayley turns back babyface. She's been a heel for a few years now.
Yeah. Yep. I'm in agreement with that. Seems like a lot of people getting kicked out of their organizations after Saturday.
I agree.
I hope we all have jobs.
I'd be curious though. Do you you know, you have 2 War Games matches. Do you implode both the Judgment Day and Damage Control in War Games matches on the same pay-per-view?
Well, let's try to go back in history. Back in the NWA days when they had these War Games, did anybody implode in those matches? Did the Horsemen implode? I can't remember.
What was the first one?
Not particular. I mean, there was some, you know, the occasional turn, but usually you didn't have multiple War Games matches on the pay-per-view. You'd spend months building around one, you know. And no offense to the talent back in the 70s and 80s, but you would never ever in a million years would the NWA have had a women's War Games match.
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't think Judgment Day implodes. I think Imperium, but that's a mini faction.
Yeah, I guess.
And, I mean, I think they implode, but I don't think Judgment Day does.
Well, I think the start of Imperium falling apart will happen Saturday. It won't be full-fledged. I do think, again, Monday is going to be a big deal for a lot of things that are going to go down. I mean, I'm not so sure Orton doesn't go after Cody. I have no idea. That's what's good about this. I really am not sure what could happen.
Well, especially with Riddle gone, Orton doesn't have any ties to his face persona anymore. He can come back and be the Viper again.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like we said, he just takes care of Jey Uso and he just like attacks him.
Yeah.
And Jey Uso's the odd man out,
Yeah. He's going to be the whipping boy.
While we're already bringing up that subject, let's start talking about it. We have Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Randy Orton, Seth freaking Rollins, and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day. Damian Priest, Dirty Dom Mysterio, Finn Balor, and J.D. McDonough, and also Drew McIntyre. This should be a fun one, guys.
Well, Dominic, with all his jail time experience, should be very comfortable in the double cage.
That's great.
He might even get another black tier or something on,
Right.
a little, So the smart money's on Dominic. No. No.
Oh,
No. But again, I'm gonna hang to the. I'm gonna say that I think Jey Uso is going to be ultimately could be the downfall of the team. So. And I have to wonder if
is it going to be a controversial accident?
It might be yes, Bruce, a controversial accident. I would suggest maybe, a controversial accident, perhaps. But
he misses the super kick and hits Randy or something, and he just RKO's him and leaves.
See, I'm kind of torn here, right? Because I already made the prediction that Priest is going to take the fall, and that will lead to him being kicked out. But I also feel like Randy is going to do something to Jey. Like
absolutely.
So then, can two of these things happen in one match?
Well, and it's not just Jey. Randy's got heat with
Drew.
Sammy.
Oh yeah.
He's got heat with Sammy and Jey.
Yeah.
And technically, I mean, they mentioned the legacy, but it's not like Cody and Randy were best friends on screen when he left either. So
I don't know, man. A lot of open things going on.
Yeah, and I will say I believe, I don't know if it's been pointed out or not, but I do, because obviously they hadn't scheduled Randy Orton to be there live, but I believe they announced him ahead of time specifically to avoid any issues with the crowd expecting CM Punk to be the mystery partner.
Yeah, plus that ratings
because
they're going to get
they
from him.
didn't want to risk a WrestleMania 30 Royal Rumble where the crowd booed Rey Mysterio's return because they wanted number 30 to be Daniel Bryan. Like, a Chicago crowd.
Is there any chance that Punk shows up? What are the odds that Punk even shows up?
Absolutely. I mean, who knows? But it would be a great opportunity, for another swerve.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I'm not one for the online wrestling conspiracies, but I think there's a legit chance the whole thing with Nakamura, who's going to show up to fight me? Where's my mystery man in the corner? I wouldn't be surprised if Nakamura comes out, come on, somebody come get me. And that's when Punk comes out and hits him with the G, because Nakamura uses the GTS too.
That's right.
That would be a good moment where you could have a mini feud. Punk can go over Nakamura and then transition him. That way, you're not doing what AEW did, where you bring him in and he's immediately main event scene, even though it was obvious he didn't want it.
Right. That's good. I like it.
So why don't we take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll wrap this up. So we'll be right back.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite 4-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Tired of that same old breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Same old tasting scrambled eggs, burger, that dinner steak, ribs, or pork chops? Why not add a little bit of spice or just a touch of heat to make the difference? Change that scrambled egg with a little bit of Johnny Fabulous's John Cena
needs, call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage, ask for Jack.
Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's making some scratch. He's got
Okay,
tons of.
and we are back. So, welcome back, guys. So,
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, so at this time, let's plug some of the upcoming stuff that's going on the network. So Mike, what do we have coming up on the Monte the Pharaoh? Any guests upcoming?
We're off this Thursday, and I'm working on booking a major star for the following Thursday. I have not got confirmation yet, so I won't announce it, but I will tell you if it does happen, you never see this guy on anybody's podcast, and he's a major star. In fact, I would tell you his name was mentioned a few times by one of the panel here. So we'll leave it at that.
Some controversy. Okay, awesome. Well, we also have Dan and Benny from Dan and Benny in the Ring. So, what do you guys have upcoming?
Well, we got a lot of good stuff. We just had our big Thanksgiving special with David Crockett promoting a rare live appearance for him. We did obviously our episode 150 with Steve Kern was a big success, and we got a lot of good stuff. I mean, Benny, correct me if I'm wrong, we're booked through parts of January now, aren't we?
We're booked towards the end of January. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of good
Dan,
stuff.
I have a question for you, right? And again, before I even knew you guys, I used to listen to the show, and it's just a special show. It's different. You have a whole bunch of different types of guests. But let me ask you personally, what do you think about the success that you guys are having? Do you feel proud? Do you brag about it? I mean, seriously, how does that feel that you came from just two guys and you've built this fantastic program?
I mean, we say it a lot, to a couple of microphones and a laptop, and we're hitting every episode we download is or we put out there is anywhere from a few dozen to a few hundred downloads, and that's just downloads. That doesn't include streams. We're charting. I mean, we're not going to dethrone the royalty, but I mean, the average podcast, like I said, according to Apple Dynamics, the average podcast lasts 3 episodes and gets listened to by less than a dozen people. So, I mean, we're tens of thousands of times better than I ever thought we would be. We're still having a blast doing it. We've got the fact that we've talked to people who have since passed away. So it's like to know that we were part of that, telling their story, that history before that it was gone, and that's what we want to do. And we continue to do it. It's incredible. I've had random people at work that have caught wind of what I do. And I work for a defense contractor, 24,000 employees. And it's like, hey, I heard your show with Jimmy the other day. And I mean, just Benny, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Just, last week your article got posted again.
It's up to 7,700 views, which on Facebook is unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, there's articles on that page that have gotten like 10 views, 19. I mean, it's gotten over 800 shares. But I want to add one little bit more of perspective. I got a text from somebody, also does a podcast, and he said that one of his friends was in the ICU. And he said he absolutely loves Dan and Benny in the Ring. And would you send him a get well video? So I got on my phone and I cut a little promo. I tried my best to channel my inner cornet, and to think that like we matter enough that somebody who's in the hospital, we could make them feel a little bit better. If 3 people listen to this show and he's one of them, to me, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Very cool.
Well said.
So while we're talking to the Man of 1,000 podcast, Benny, so True Crimes Part 3 is coming up. What's that one going to be about?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully on Monday, if all goes well, we're going to talk about, and a couple of us here were, on Long Island when it happened. The Ronald the Pharaoh, the Amityville Horror, happened in August of 1974. I think it was 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville. Ronald the Pharaoh went home one night and killed his entire family, 6 people. And but the funny thing is my brother-in-law, John Wendell, worked at Louis' Pub, which it's been renamed a gazillion times over, but right on the corner of 110 and Merrick Road, 27A, Montauk Highway. And the Pharaoh allegedly went into the bar at 6 o'clock the next afternoon when my brother-in-law was working there. And he said, my family's been shot. And I guess a couple of them went in the car with him, the Pharaoh, and went back to the house. And that's when it all unraveled. But, man, I mean, it's not, not one of these like Boston Strangler, serial killings or even like a helter-skelter kind of thing. But, it's a one-night thing. But, man, that shook Long Island to its very core.
I do want to announce one thing, guys. B40 wrote me, I think, yesterday, and I had forgotten AEW is going to be on Long Island December 30th. So he's like, apply for a press pass and I'll go in as your press agent. So I did. I'm waiting for a response.
Nice.
But if it does happen, B40 will represent Monte the Pharaoh.
Nice.
But he's got to dress a certain way. He's going to wear a hat. And he's got to ask the questions I send him. And there'll be Phil, as you know, I'll give him very, very tough questions. So that'll be, we'll see if B40 is going to make his mud, right?
Yeah.
If he's willing to ask MJF.
He can't elbow you under the table, man.
And there's no tapping on the table. You got to ask it. You're by yourself. That is all.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's nice. So, looks like we're getting towards the end. We got a couple more things to talk about. We have the what's the name of that upcoming baseball podcast you guys are doing with One A Day Joe Lowry there?
Twin Bill. We just did one today on famous nicknames in baseball. I mean, there's so many topics we can talk about, and I mean, we all love baseball. Who doesn't love baseball? It's the American pastime. So, I mean, I think it's really going to catch on. I think, I've been a baseball fan since I want to go 1963 when I collected my very first pack of Topps baseball cards. And I've read hundreds of baseball books. I've won many, many contests on TV and radio, baseball trivia contests. So I love all things baseball. And I don't think a single episode has gone by where Dan and I have not made at least one baseball reference.
Might I suggest a guest for you guys?
Sure.
Dr. Charles Steinberg. He's currently president of the Worcester Red Sox, was also with the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles for many years. So
there you go.
He might be a good guest. He's a great talker. He's a great guy. You got your lid on there. That's nice, man. We'd love to talk to you. He's a musician too, and he's an amazing. Oh my goodness! Look at
my Yankee tattoo.
Yeah, well, Dr. Charles would be a great guest sometime for you guys. So just a suggestion.
Wait a minute, I missed something. Benny, you have a Yankee tattoo?
Well, it's the Yankee. Let me see if I can do this here. Can you see it?
Oh,
it's the Yankee logo with the Italian flag colors.
Very nice.
Oh, nice.
Dan, I love you, but you got so many bad things about you. NWA wrestling, Baltimore Orioles. I don't even know. I don't know how I can even be friends with you, man.
I think Monty's first name should be Frank. Wasn't there? There was a Frank Monty, a wrestler, right? Yeah.
Yes, there was.
Monty's very frank.
Yeah.
Frank Monty.
Yeah.
So last show the last show I have to plug involves again that player up in the corner, and this one with me. We're renaming the week this week in wrestling to Wrestling Remembered, and we're going to start going live with it. Sometime next week, I believe, and we're just going to set up a time that works for both of us. And I can't wait to do it. We already record live So this time we'll actually be able to interact with the fans on the side too. So that should be a lot of fun.
Nice.
But on that note, I'm going to say a quick thanks to Mike Monty for letting me do this, and thank you to you guys. Phil, it was great meeting you last week. Benny, it's been great working with you. Dan, I haven't really gotten a chance to know you that well, but I can't wait to work with you in the future. Mike, I owe you a lot. I thank you for having the faith that we could pull this off. And on that note, I'm going to let anybody else give a quick thanks out there before I turn it over to you to bring us out of here.
I mean, this is really a family. I love it. I mean, this is truly a family.
There's not much else that can keep me up, and this is late at night for me. So
It's way
you know, I
past
love
my
it.
bedtime, yeah.
Yeah, and I know Mike's up early too, so you
My
gotta love
eyes
it.
are falling out of my head right now.
So on that
I
note,
hear you. I'm holding.
Like Ric Flair already passed out twice.
Yeah, so I'm eternally grateful. This is super fun, and I feel like I've answered a calling here, so I appreciate the opportunity and just the welcome. So thank you.
Well, on my end, again, I'm always thankful to all the people that support the show, and especially the people on this dais, because at some point, I've pretty much gave Bruce full reign of the channel, right? Could do whatever he wants with the channel, right? So I just want you guys to grow. When I see Dan and Benny growing, it feels good because we are a family. I'm like, their victory is my victory. You know what I'm saying? Or to watch Phil and Bruce do an interview with the Orient Express. It's like I'm watching my family. It's proud. You know what I mean? I'm proud. I'm proud about what we're accomplished. And you guys are just good guys. I mean, you guys supported me that last weekend, 2 weekends ago. We all know what a mess it was. And you guys were right behind me all the way, which, I can only thank you.
Indeed.
Very much so.
So on that note, Mike, why don't you take us on out of here?
All right. Well, you are watching The Family in a special edition Thanksgiving episode where we had some great conversation. Again, we thank you for joining us. Don't forget about catching Dan and Benny in the ring, both on audio and on this channel. Don't forget about all the shows named True Crimes, the baseball show, Twin Bill, and Wrestling Remembered about to start, and of course the main show, the 30, which is every Thursday at 8:00, where these wrestling experts get under the gun, which I can't do. I'm just in awe every Thursday that you guys could even respond to the stupid questions I ask you every Thursday. And then obviously the main show, Monte The Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Maybe at some point we get Jimmy back on the show. I'm working on him. We'll see what happens. I mean, his lady love there's got the whip on that young man. So we got to try to relieve him of his husbandy duties. You know what I'm saying?
On that
But that's
note,
it.
On that note, let's get out of here. Well, thank you guys, and we will see you soon. Later.